Colombo, I'm joined by Jeevan Tyagarajan, Secretary General of the Council for Liberal Democracy. From Chennai by Dr. Gladstone Xavier, Social Researcher and Dean of Arts at Loyola College. T.K. Selangovan, Member of Parliament of the Lok Sabha. My first question is to Subramaniam Swamy, President of the Janata Party. Mr. Subramaniam Swamy, do you think that DMK is serious, that this whole thing is actually a crisis, or is it a make-believe crisis with 3 ministers rushing to Chennai? Is it a make-believe crisis or a real crisis in your view?
Oh, it's clearly a make-believe crisis. We saw the same kind of posturing in 2009 during the election time, and then they did not do anything. And that's the time when all the human rights excesses took place and Prabhakaran was killed. That time they could have walked out. They did not walk out. They have not walked out in between. And today the demands they are making are so impractical that no Indian government can possibly move a resolution on genocide, because no country will support it. Perhaps with the exception of Bhutan, nobody else will support it. We'll look ridiculous in the world. So I think they will back down on some time and say communal forces should not gather strength, so we are not pressing our demands anymore.
Mr. Elangovan, is this just drama? Subramaniam Swamy says this is just drama.
Mr. Subramaniam Swamy is not our DMK's president. So it is his opinion. I cannot say anything on that.
Subramaniam Swamy, why do you think the DMK's demands are unreal? Could you pick up any one of them, for example? We could discuss it in detail.
Well, take genocide. Which country is going to support you on genocide? Even the US draft, for example, on the US draft, originally the DMK stand was support the US resolution. Then they read the UN resolution, US resolution, and found that the US says all investigations must be done by the Sri Lankan government. And then they knew that they got into a fix. Now they have done a somersault and they say, no, move amendments. What amendments? Genocide. Who's going to support you? We'll look even more ridiculous than last year.
Why do you think so? Why do you think so, Mr. Subramaniam Swamy?
Which country is going to support it? United States is not supporting it. UK is not supporting it. EU is not supporting it. China, Russia, of course. Tell me one country which will support us if we move an amendment that the resolution must include genocide.
Mr. Elangovan, are you not concerned about why India should look like an American stooge, and ruin its relationship with Sri Lanka forever by talking about genocide?
See, I'll tell you what is happening in the island is genocide. See, I'm not going into the diplomatic word terms and other things. I as a Tamilian, we as Tamilians know that what is happening in the island is genocide. To this effect, there were reports by various international NGOs and governments like the Amnesty International, like the Human Rights Watch, and various other, not Tamilians, not Tamil political parties, by international agencies which have stated that what is happening in the island is war crime and genocide. So on that basis, we want that to be stopped. That is our demand. And on humanitarian grounds, we are not bothered about diplomatic relations, diplomatic ties.
No, but
what is happening in the island should be stopped.
Mr. Elangovan, many people, basically Subramaniam Swamy is questioning you. He's saying this is all theatrics, this is drama. And he's not wrong, Mr. Elangovan, because the DMK threatened to withdraw from the centre during the Sri Lanka LTT war. But you didn't act on the threat then. You said you'll withdraw support to the central government.
That is why I'll tell you. At that time, the Minister, Mr. Chidambaram, the then External Affairs Minister, they all gave assurances and we believed it. But this time we don't want to believe such assurances. We want action.
No, what action? You said you'd withdraw support. Didn't you say you'd withdraw support? Did you not say in 2009, BBC Sinhala reported in July 2009 that Karunanidhi said to the State Assembly that a separate country for Sri Lanka's Tamils was unrealistic? He rejected calls for an investigation in 2009. He said it's counterproductive to reconciliation. Am I right or am I wrong, Mr. Elangovan?
No. When the Sri Lankan government, when the president of Sri Lanka gave assurances to the government of India, like demilitarization, democratization, and devolution of powers, at that time, when he stated that such things will happen, and he gave assurances, we thought that something progressive will happen in that island.
And you realized 4 years later
Now
that you were fooled by the Sri Lankan government.
Yes, nothing has happened. Yes, for the past 1 year we have been harping on this, and we have been discussing this. We have been instructing, asking the central government.
Subramaniam Swamy.
When we thought that
Yes, may I say that the DMK and its friends in Sri Lanka who run the TNA, they supported the candidacy of the commander-in-chief of the Sri Lankan army, who was there during the period they say genocide took place. Mr. Fonseca, General Fonseca was the candidate of the Tamils during the presidential election. How does DMK defend that? How can you talk about genocide by Rajapaksa but not by Fonseca, who is the commander-in-chief of the army at the battlefield?
See, DMK supporting Fonseca is the idea of Mr. Subramaniam Swamy. Why should we support Fonseca?
You did. You supported, your TNA supported it and you welcomed it.
No. DNA is not ours. I'll let you know, TNA is not ours. TNA is a political party in Sri Lanka. We are for the Sri Lankan Tamils in the northern side.
They come and
northern part of Sri Lanka. We are not for any political party.
They are also
I'll
Tamils.
tell you, we were not. Yes, we support the people, not political parties. Political parties may take stands depending on their position in the island. Why should we support a political party?
My question
to the island to canvass votes for Fonseca?
My question is this. You see, I genuinely find Mr. Elangovan, with all respect, a slight shift in the position between what the DMK said in 2009 and now. But that's not the issue. The issue tonight is what do we stand to gain and what do we stand to lose? The UPA stands to gain to survive. But what does the country stand to lose?
Yes.
Dr. Gladstone Xavier, my question is to you. Don't you feel, you have a UN draft resolution which says give us unfettered, give the special rapporteurs on the independence of judges and lawyers unfettered access in Sri Lanka. My question to you, Dr. Gladstone Xavier, is this: unfettered access sets a very dangerous precedent. It impinges on a nation's sovereignty. Tomorrow, people could say give us unfettered access in Jammu and Kashmir. Give us unfettered access in the Northeast. Give us unfettered access to parts of India which are struck by Maoism. It's not going to be limited to this, Dr. Xavier.
Well, I can't hear the question very clearly. Can you please repeat? I'm not able to hear the question very clearly. Can you kindly repeat the question, please?
In brief, Dr. Xavier, giving unfettered access is dangerous. Giving the United Nations rapporteurs unfettered access in Sri Lanka sets a dangerous precedent for India. It can be applied on us tomorrow.
Yeah, see, the thing with the unfettered access is, I don't think the United Nations itself will accept an unfettered access into any other country, because Sri Lanka is a sovereign nation, and unless and until the Sri Lankan government agrees to allow its investigators to come in, how will any investigation progress? So at the moment, if you say unfettered access, no government is going to agree. Even Indian government is not going to agree to something like that. So that's our take on it. Now over here, what we have to discuss something which is more practical, which is more long-standing and more healing the whole process, rather than just taking us back to what happened 2009 and before that. So how do we move forward in this process rather than taking it backwards?